Houseavian, as a separate realm, is a new concept in the long history of Griffonia. For hundreds if not thousands of years, the plains of Verania, the region where our noble house is currently located, were but mere extensions of various other states. No great lords and realms were born in these wild grasslands, or at least knowledge of such empires was lost after the Aquilian Revolution. Many others desired these lush grasslands, now filled with rich towns and cities, most notably HOI4 and the Duchy of Verania. Such a status quo would be changed with the rise of the champion of Boreas, Grover I of Griffinstone. The ambitious king desired to unite all of Griffinkind under his banner, and thus set out on a great campaign of conquest and subjugation. Not all realms chose to resist Grover, however. Some joined him willingly. One of such states was Verania, under Duchess Edlina, who was one of the first to bend the knee to the future emperor. Due to this, during the war against Aquilia, the armies bearing the banner of Sun and Moon fought under the banner of the Idol of Boreas. The forces of Verania fought bravely and valiantly, and thus Grover I saw it fit to reward Edlina with a truly generous gift. Half of the Veranian region, nearly increasing the size of the duchy 3 times. This realm remained relatively rich and prosperous throughout the imperial period, even if certain problems, such as the inability to advance and modernize at the same pace as certain other regions, and the ever-growing animosity between the nobility. The culmination of this slow decline would come after the Griffonian revolutions, and the counter-revolutions that followed. Verania was devastated by not only the republics of the Heartlands, but also by the surge of Aquilian revolutionaries. This completely devastated the realm, and many of its nobles, and even members of HOI4 and the cadet branch of Aerie, were executed, leaving an old, now childless monarch on the throne, and 2 potential successors, with an equally valid claim, Lovinus Aerie and Duke Vincentieri, successors who, on the death of the Duke, were unwilling to bend and admit the other to be their superior, and decided that blades were better at deciding such matters than words, declared war on each other, splitting the state into 2. At first it seemed that Vincent would win with the larger part of the former realm behind him. However, due to the actions of Lady Katrina Rivertail, this didn't happen, being the aunt of both pretenders to the throne and unwilling to participate in a conflict between her dear nephews. She broke off her own would-be state, proclaiming herself the matriarch of the newly formed House Avian. Yes, for the time being, our efforts will be primarily focused on the Duchy of Verania, which is made up of these 3 nations formed in its collapse. Our one being the one with the potential to unite it, because separate, we are all extremely weak, us being the weakest of the 3. And even united, we barely stand a chance against threats from Griffinheim and Aquilia. So there are 2 propositions, naturally, the Count's proposition and the Viceroy's. The Count wants to stay isolationist, defend ourselves, while the Viceroy, a rather smart man I would say, seeks to reunite the duchy, which I think is the only choice really. Because if we don't reunite the duchy, we can't defend ourselves, and there's no reason to stay isolationist. Like, maybe if we were America, having oceans separating ourselves from the rest of the world, we could pull off isolationism, but here, we're literally in the middle of 2 superpowers, or superpowers to come. It's not an option. Also, another problem of being between 2 empires is the language divide. There's going to be a mixture of Griffish and Aquilian. However, Griffish is more the language of imperialism, I guess, if that makes sense somehow. Well, I guess Griffish, if we understand that, we can better read the imperial doctrines of war, and we'll be able to get a 10% division attack buff, which is pretty nice. It may come in handy later on, if we are ever required to use means beyond diplomacy to accomplish our goals here. But yes, further elaborating on our strategy past just wanting some extra attack, we'll try to build some tanks. We're kind of behind in that technology, and our research speed is rather slow, so we'll take a while to research. Also, we are House Avian after all, so we will do some aviation, which will be useful. We'll see where that'll come in handy, I'm sure. Right now, we are just proposing a variety of agreements between the other houses, supporting a tripartite college, common market agreement, and then eventually we'll be able to end the rivalry between Airy and Erie. Year-long ceasefire has been declared between House Airy and House Erie, so now we have our opportunity to get the Treaty of Friendship signed as soon as possible. And there, a legendary piece of diplomatic work, if I do say so myself. Two warring sides that would never submit to one another have finally made peace. This was the weirdest of civil wars, that's true. It's not very often that a civil war is like between two people with practically the same name, so it's kind of confusing. If we want to have a civil war, we should at least make it more like normal, I don't know. But yeah, now we will move to the next step of the plan, which is integrating them, you know, using some of the power of friendship, I guess. Wait. Manticore sighting? What? And now it is time to take the next step into the unknown, to seek full integration of our friends, to restore Verania to what it once was. Maybe we can at least try, no one can blame us for that. Separate, we are all really weak, but together, if you add all the factories up, we could be a decent power. Like, we could have as many factories as the Griffonian Empire has right now. Of course, they'll soon conquer these guys and become way more powerful than we can ever imagine, but we can maybe stand a chance, kind of. And perfect, they both agreed to become our faithful partners, so we get a new puppet and 50 free political power from both those. Oh, that's nice. Okay, and now with some sort of stability established here, and with Airy and Erie both united under us, we shall hold the second Winterfest ball. The unification process has been going smoothly, so smoothly in fact, that a ball at Alls has been planned. Both lords and ladies from all parts of Avian, Erie, and Airy met together peacefully this day under a unified banner and a promise of peace to last between the house's peoples. Wine flowed, words streamed like rivers, and much merrymaking was had. Quite a few inter-house relationships were even formed. Alas, for not all was peaceful. Unknown assailants fired shots into the party. Many were wounded, and the perpetrator escaped. The ball was swiftly put to an end as the guests were evacuated from the scene, and survivors rushed to the hospitals. And you see here on the battlefield is eventually where fate is truly decided in the end, you know. We had our peace. We unified the land, and now it's time for a battle to decide what path we'll take. And in this battle, a new country rises, forged from blood, under the rule of the Lieutenant General Trubach. A new nation. Now it all has been integrated well. At least as much as it can be for now. So now we've purged the army, purged the aristocracy, we've rebuilt the army in its new form, and we have repurposed our entire industry into just only building heavy tanks. And just one factory making some motorized. But yeah, through focuses and other stuff, we have a lot of infantry equipment and support equipment, so yeah, we can just only build heavy tanks. We don't have very many people living here, so might as well put every man in his own heavy tank. And you know what? We have a 100% research boost. We might as well research some super heavy tanks. Very glorious. They only take a little bit of production. And here we are, the proclamation of the Kingdom of Verania. With Trubach's victory, the three houses have been tied together in a military dictatorship. The largest city of the region, Verania, and his home city is where the new government rules from. And as such, House Avian, Erie, and Airy no longer exist. Long live Trubach. Long live the Kingdom of Verania. There we are, the nice purple Kingdom of Verania. And now we can attack Griffinstone, the home of Grover the First, the one who brought us into existence in the first place, more or less. Anyways, time to bring the might of our heavy tanks upon the Kingdom of Griffinstone. Our glorious leader Trubach will lead them in personally. begun our marvelous work, the work of creating endless personal unions, yes. We have created the kingdom of Griffinstone with our dynasty on the throne, of course, King Trubach, and we will continue doing that. Our next target is, strangely, Phaethesia. Our focus tree requires us to declare on them since they took land outside of the Herzland. Yeah, so we took advantage of the Phaethesia thing and took all of this territory here. And now we're at war with Aquilia, just slowly getting encirclements with our heavy tanks. Hopefully, though, we can defeat them before we fight the Empire, the fake successors of Grover, and we will show them our true might. Even though, I guess, admittedly, we have no claim to the Griffonian throne, and we're just like the friends of Grover the First for like one battle. But I don't know, I feel like we still have some claim somehow. Ooh, some 40 wits. So yeah, I forgot to deploy my 40 wits before this war started, yeah. Anyways, now our strategic advantage is undeniable. But yeah, the entire front is looking great, except up here where we only have one tank. But this is a very good tank, so I'm sure everything will be perfectly fine as we proclaim the glory of the Suppression dynasty. Yep, now our heavy tanks are sniping victory points, which when heavy tanks are this fast and behind your lines, you know you've lost. And now the single tank that was guarding that entire front will win the war. The very glorious tank, yeah. It'll now receive its true name, a name to give it true power, the Chad tank. The Chad tank, the only one today. But yeah, this is nice. The Kingdom of Verania has greatly expanded. But now we can declare, oh, wait, what state do we not own? Well, you know, yeah, you know, when the Empire takes states that are rightfully yours, there's really only one thing you can do. Okay, and we had to release Aquilia as a puppet because we couldn't occupy them with our limited manpower, but now we will go on to all adults serve the second the war starts, and we will initiate War Plan Yale, where we only have our divisions on the southern part of the line. We leave the northern part open, only to force Skyfall's hand as the Empire comes to their border. They'll be forced to invade the Empire with us, and then we will crush the Empire, us three together. Even with part of our plan failing, they didn't actually even push to the border with Skyfall. Well, I guess they will now, but it's a little late for that. But even with that, we've now linked up with Republican forces and liberated Griffinheim, so things are good. And here we are, finally. We've released many more kingdoms, or duchies, or viscounties, which are all personal unions under us, of course, all led by our glorious monarch, Duke Trubach, or Kaiser Trubach, or Count Trubach. Yeah, this guy, he's a man of many titles. Yeah, Griffinheim is now ours. Well, it's the free city of Griffinheim, under Lord Protector Trubach. Lord Protector Trubach. Lord Protector Trubach. Yes, Lord Protector. A glorious title. I think we've achieved the one title that we've been seeking to achieve this entire time, I dare say, yes. Well, we could keep going. Maybe we'll keep going. Who knows? But I feel like Verania has been restored to, I would say its proper glory, but this is a lot more glory than we've ever had before.